What's up, everybody? Welcome to the podcast today. My name's Ryan, and I'm excited that you're here. If you are here or you're watching later, thank you very much. Um, this it was started this week to be able to have a place and a forum for us to talk, have conversations, not just about ideology or religion or politics, but also about our hobbies and what we do for fun and everything that happens in between those major news events, quote unquote. So, yes, we will talk about the news, but my hope is that this becomes a place where anybody can come to have a conversation, to talk about all sorts of things. We could have a debate on whether skiing or snowboarding is better, for instance. Anything along those lines, I am welcome to talk about. I am an open book. Anyone who knows me knows that I will have a conversation with you about anything. So, welcome. Thank you for being here. The first thing I wanted to talk about is today is Constitution Day here in America. Not that it's a major holiday, and also Citizen Day. So I thought it'd be interesting or fun to talk about those things and why they're important. So, with the Constitution, I wanted to start just by reading the opening of the Constitution because I think our founders put it there for a reason and it frames why America is in existence. So, we, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our prosperity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. So, what does that mean? First off, it's unique. No one ever, before this, established a country from the people's perspective. It was always a top down approach. It was always the rulers or people in charge who established the countries, who dictated the battles and wars, who said, here are our borders. This was the first time that the citizenship of a country or of a group decided to say, no, you know what? This is for us and by us and we the people. In order to form a more perfect union. So the goal was to have all of the states, all of the 13 colonies at that time, come together in a more perfect version of what they have already started to create, establishing justice, tranquility, and common defense. So it talks about having court systems and peace and to defend our borders and ourselves from other people, to promote welfare and the blessings of liberty for our prosperity. So, the goal of the United States of America is to create prosperity for all of the people that are in it within its borders. That's the focus that the founding fathers have. And it says that they do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. So, I talked in yesterday's episode that every person in the world benefits from America's establishment. And I didn't realize until last night or this morning that today was Constitution Day. Uh, Honestly, I probably hadn't heard of it before. I was looking for something to talk about and to open with today, and I didn't realize that there was a day on the calendar for the Constitution. But I think that's awesome. I think it's good to be proud of your country, and especially it's good to be proud of America because we've done so much for the world. We've established peace and safety throughout many regions of the world before. And I said yesterday, too, are we perfect? No, we're not perfect. There are some dark spots on our history, many of which we've tried to rectify over the years. And I think most Americans, I think the majority of Americans want to have peace and prosperity for every single person within its borders. Now, I also believe that the way to bring that about is through having conversations and through talking with one another and to find common ground. I think most of us agree more on most things than we disagree more on most things. I think there's very few things that we actually disagree on when we get down to it, when we have a conversation with one another. So those are my thoughts on Constitution Day. The Constitution is one of the greatest documents ever penned to paper, and it's worth your time to read. It's not an easy read because it's a legal document necessarily, but it's worth your time to know what it says, to at least know the history of where America was established, why America was established, and the perspective of the people who were living at that time to establish this country. Today is also Citizen Day, and it's something that is special to me as well. Citizenship is something very special to me because my mother was not a citizen of the United States. She wasn't born as a citizen of the United States. She was born and raised in Italy, and she immigrated here to this country when she met my father while he was serving abroad in Europe. And it means a whole lot to me that she took that risk and she made that choice. She could have very easily stayed comfortable, but that is one of the things that is a part of American spirit. Being willing and eager to take risks and to go out into new spaces and new lands and new territories with new ideas and new inventions and new perspectives and ways to do things and thrive there, flourish there. If it weren't for my mother making that choice, I would not be American. I also wouldn't have the father that I do probably. But I saw online that Trump today added a welcome letter when you become a citizen. And I thought we could read over that and see what it says and see if it's a good or a bad thing or whatever. I haven't read it yet, so this is my first reading of it. Found it over here on Twitter. Let me bring that up. All right, so what has our president said here? Dear fellow American, on behalf of my administration and the American people, congratulations on becoming a citizen of our great and glorious nation. America has always welcomed those who embrace our values, assimilate into our society, and pledge allegiance to our country. By taking this oath, you have forged a sacred bond with our nation, her traditions, her history, her culture, and her values. This rich heritage is now yours to protect, promote, and pass down to the next generation. Our history is now your history. Our customs are now your customs. And our Constitution is now yours to safeguard, honor, and respect. The United States is now your homeland, and you stand as a part of one nation under God. You have pledged your heart to America, and in return she offers the boundless promise of freedom and opportunity. We applaud your devotion to our country, our people, our history, and our great American story. As long as the American people continue to love our country and uphold our values, there is nothing that our nation cannot achieve. Our communities will flourish, our people will prosper, our traditions will endure, and our future will be brighter, more radiant, and more hopeful than ever before. Once again, congratulations and welcome. May God bless you, and may he continue to bless the United States of America. Sincerely, President Scribble's signature there. That is quite a signature. Mine's pretty bad, but that signature is quite funny. All right, so a letter to be included. What do the reports say on this? Oops. What do the reports say on this? Here, what does Grok have to say? President Trump has introduced a signed welcome letter for newly naturalized U.S. citizens to be included with their certificates, congratulating them on their achievement and urging them to protect America's heritage, Constitution, and values of assimilation and national unity. Revealed by the White House and Department of Homeland Security on September 17, 2025, the letter aligns with Trump's immigration policies that emphasize strict enforcement against undocumented individuals while supporting legal pathways. It differs from previous presidents' messages by focusing more on cultural preservation and patriotism, promoting varied public responses on social media. What did this say about... Revealed by the White House and Department of Homeland Security on September 17, 2025, the letter aligns with Trump's immigration policies. Okay, aligns. I thought it was saying that it was talking about his immigration policies. Let's look at this again. So, I think this is a good thing. It's a big task and a big goal to be able to become a citizen of this nation. It's not a easy thing to do necessarily. It's easier than a lot of other countries, but there's still boxes to check, forms to fill out, fees to be paid, tests to be taken. It is not a simple process, I should say. It is a welcoming process. It's a straightforward process, but on behalf of the administration and the American people, congratulations on becoming a citizen of this glorious nation. Cool. Let's congratulate everybody who does it the way that the law determines. We should be congratulating every single person who follows the law. That shows goodwill. That shows that they want to be a part of this nation, not that they just want to usurp what we have decided as the American people on how you become a part of our nation. America has always welcomed those that embrace our values, assimilate into our society, and pledge allegiance to our country. Yeah, assimilation is a huge thing. We talked on it briefly, I think, in yesterday's podcast, where, there are people who come to this country who have no intent to assimilate. They choose to make their own little communities on where they're not trying to be a part of the American experiment. They're trying to just create little enclaves of their culture. And don't get me wrong, like having your culture from your heritage is a good thing. We have Little Italies and Chinatowns and those sorts of things all through the United States. But the point is, now when we see people coming illegally into our country, we also don't see them saying to their children, hey, you need to become a part of America. You need to do the things that it is to become American. One of the biggest things my mom did, I remember her having this desire. She didn't necessarily sit me down and say, I want this to be something that you do, but through the way she had expectations on me, she wanted me to be American. She expected me to be American. It's only now, in my late 30s, that I'm trying very hard to learn Italian. She didn't speak it in the home. My dad was passable in it. They could have chosen to be a bilingual household. But she wanted me to be American, so we spoke English in the home. I didn't even realize until I was 19 or 20 that my mom had an accent, because to me it was just the way she spoke. It wasn't until a friend said something to me in my late teens, early 20s that, wow, your mom has a really strong accent. And I said, what are you talking about? And he goes, well, the way that she speaks, it's clear that she comes from a different place. I said, what? That's just the way she sounds. That's the way she says words. And that person had to say, yeah, that's what an accent is, Ryan. And I was a little oblivious to it because she was my mom. I grew up with her. She spoke English. And that was her intent. Her intent was for us to be a part of America, not just a part of America, but for myself and my sister to be American. We weren't Italians. We weren't Italian Americans. We were American. Now, when people ask me about my heritage, I say, oh, I'm Italian American, because I'm the first generation on my mom's side who is here. But what else does this say? The United States is now your homeland, and you stand as a part of one nation under God. I think that's awesome. We've talked about before how this country was established as a nation that came out of Christian ideology and a Judeo-Christian ideology. And that, our nation does not work in a agnostic or atheistic, with an agnostic or atheistic people. The laws and the goodwill that are written into our founding documents and our society don't work when people are not heavenly minded or not religious in effect, specifically from a Judeo-Christian background. Because you have to believe those things in order for our laws and our society to function and have merit. And too many people who say, oh, well, I don't believe that, and it's just fine, I can have morality apart from all of that, don't realize how much preconditioning they have because of the society that they grew up in to even be able to think in that manner. We applaud your devotion to our country, our people, and our history, and our great American story. The one part I liked here, our history is now your history, up here in the second paragraph. Our customs are now your customs, and our Constitution is now yours to safeguard, honor, and respect. I think this is great. Having a welcome letter from the sitting president add some seriousness to the thing you just accomplished. Not that having citizenship papers and stuff like that don't have a serious undertone to them, but yes, anyone who is a citizen of the United States of America who left your homeland, who said, I think I can do something better out in America, and I think I'm going to fight and try to get there. I applaud you. I have a great deal of respect for you, and thank you for being here. Continue to figure out ways to be a part of our culture and to assimilate and to become more and more American every day. Have the mentalities that have created the greatest prosperity and the greatest amount of liberty and freedom the world has ever seen. Very cool. I think this is a great idea. All right, let me check in on the chat for a second here, see if anybody's talking. No one is talking. Cool. No big deal. We will continue on. The other piece of news I saw here. What do we have here? So, this is from this morning, around 10:30 Eastern Time. Suspect in custody after allegedly ramming a car into FBI Pittsburgh field office in targeted attack. Let's see what this says. A suspect is in custody after being accused of committing a targeted attack by allegedly using his car to ram the entrance gate to the FBI's Pittsburgh field office. Allegedly using his car. I guess CBS News doesn't know if either it's his car or if he was actually using the car. So I don't know why it's a story if this is all just hearsay or allegations. But anyway, the FBI says Donald Henson of Penn Hills, who they say used his car to ram the gate to the building around 2:40 a.m. on Wednesday, is in custody. All right, so this happened early this morning. FBI Pittsburgh Assistant Special Agent in Charge Christopher Giordano said early Wednesday that after crashing into the gate, Henson grabbed an American flag from inside the vehicle and threw it over the gate. We look at this as an act of terror against the FBI, Giordano said. This was a targeted attack on the building. The FBI has since backed away from calling the incident an act of terror. No one was reported injured at the time of the crash, according to the FBI. FBI says Henson left the area on foot after crashing into the gate. Video taken by someone who was working security at a nearby gas station showed Henson walking away from the scene. Right now, he is wanted in connection with the crime against the FBI, Giordano said. It is a federal offense, and we will be seeking prosecution to the fullest extent. The car the FBI says Henson used appeared to have some sort of message written on one side of the window, which Giordano said investigators are still looking into, and brought in a bomb squad to clear the vehicle. The FBI said that Henson visited the Pittsburgh office recently. In scouring our indexes, we did find that he visited the field office a couple of weeks ago to make a complaint that didn't make a whole lot of sense, Giordano said. We ran down everything that he came down with. It didn't have a federal nexus. We contacted him to let him know there wasn't a federal offense that we were able to charge. The FBI says he is believed to have a history of mental health issues and is believed to be a former member of the military. All right. Yeah, I mean, obviously, if you are attacking or ramming your car into anything, you probably are at the very least distraught. And it's something that it's a problem in this country. Mental health is definitely a problem in this country. You know, but decades ago now, we got rid of mental health hospitals, mainly because there were great injustices that were happening there. I do believe that there were evil things happening at mental health hospitals, that patients there were being taken advantage of in terrible ways. But now that we are decades removed from that, we are seeing some of the consequences of that. And also some of the narratives around mental health issues as well. It's definitely a thing that I wrestle with on whether it would be a good thing or not to have mental health hospitals, to have involuntary commitment, that sort of thing. Generally speaking, I'm on the side of liberty and freedom, but if you are living on the streets, or um, don't have family members to help you stay on the right path with medications or treatment or whatever it has to be, that does have an impact on society. And again, I'm not saying this man does deal with mental health issues. The FBI said that they thought that he did. Especially, being a veteran, he should have a great deal of help to be able to deal with those things. We have sent our sons and daughters into war for decades now, and oftentimes they come back home and they don't have support. And oftentimes they come back home and they're met with political resistance. And to me, you can disagree with the politics. And of course, you can disagree with someone joining the military. But I want to be clear in my speech. You have the legal right to disagree. But is it good or correct to disagree, I guess, is the question. Is it moral or ethical to disagree with the person who went to defend our rights? So I guess what I'm trying to say is, I think that there is a case to be made for having mental health hospitals be reinstituted in America again, because we have lots of people who need it. Again, involuntary commitment, that's something that I think there's merit to have a debate over that, to have conversations, to have discord over that. But there are many people who are hurting. And oftentimes they're hurting solely because they don't have the right medication available to them, or they didn't have the accountability there to stay on the medication or the treatment plan that would have been given to them. I have a friend in Atlanta, and he runs a nonprofit that helps homeless individuals. And he takes the tact of finding out what they need specifically. He takes the tactic of talking to them as individuals and finding out what their needs are, because not everybody's the same, right? We can't take one certain position on every single person with mental health, because individuals are dealing with different things as well. So he's going out trying to find out what they need, trying to supply what they need on an individual level, on a unique level, not just, handing them hot dogs and a soda or something like that, but actually trying to find out what they need so that they can thrive and become a productive member of society again. Again, this article doesn't say that the person was homeless or anything like that, so this is more of a general mental health type of topic. But my wife is a nurse, and she works on a respiratory floor that's also attached to a psych floor. And unfortunately, in our city here in central Pennsylvania, I live in the capital of Pennsylvania, Harrisburg. That's the option if you have a mental health problem, to be committed somewhere, and they can only keep you there for so long. So my wife sees repeat visitors coming in, oftentimes homeless people that just need medication, or they need rehab so that they can get off of drugs and heroin and that sort of thing. And majority of the drug epidemic that's going on here in America is because people have mental health issues and they're trying to look for relief from that. Ultimately, the only relief we can find from those types of things is resting in the peace of Christ and God. But I'm not one to say that you should not have access to medicines that would help with brain chemistry and being able to manage those issues that people deal with on a day-to-day basis. So, yeah, I see my friend Emilio is here in the chat. He said, pretty soon it will be AI bots fighting these wars. It's sad to see where the country fails our vets and those in need. Yeah, I agree. Absolutely, man. And it'll be AI bots on the technologically advanced countries side of things. For sure. I agree with that. We are going to be programming wars. generally speaking, as a utopian vision type of thing, I'm against war. I think that that ideally we wouldn't be fighting one another with weapons, and we could solve things diplomatically and ideologically and through debate and conversation. But unfortunately, we do live in a fallen world, and there are times when we have to defend ourselves with force. I am not a pacifist Christian, though I grew up in a denomination that would promote, part of their theology is pacifism. So, yeah, no, absolutely, brother. All right. The other thing in yesterday's news, let's flip back here. Tyler Robinson. Can we make this big? Oh, that goes to that. Here we go. I have it brought up. Tyler Robinson. So, Charlie Kirk's assassin. Well, let's be accurate. Charlie Kirk's presumed assassin. We haven't seen all the evidence, and we have not seen a conviction yet. But his presumed assassin, State of Utah v. Tyler Robinson. Here are the charges that have been brought against him. Count 1, aggravated murder. Count 2, felony discharge of a firearm causing serious bodily injury. Count 3, obstruction of justice. Count 4, a second obstruction of justice charge. Count 5, witness tampering. Count 6, witness tampering. And count 7, commission of a violent offense in the presence of a child. So the aggravated murder, kind of self-explanatory there. Obviously, Charlie Kirk is no longer with us because presumably of what this man has chosen to do, at the very least of what someone chose to do. Count 2, felony discharge of a firearm causing serious bodily injury. Yeah, I mean, obviously a firearm assassinated Charlie Kirk. He was assassinated with a gun. Obstruction of justice and obstruction of justice. I'm not sure what both of those are about. I would assume that one of it is trying to hide evidence, hide the firearm that he used allegedly, and to also, I think he was attempting to flee when his parents kind of stopped him and said that he needed to turn himself in, and he then turned himself in to either a pastor or someone in his parents' church that was a U.S. Marshal, from what I've heard. Witness tampering is going to be with his roommate or the person that he had a romantic relationship with. There were messages back and forth asking that person to go retrieve the firearm, and then commission of a violent offense in the presence of a child. I assume that there were a handful of children at Charlie Kirk's event to hear open air debate and conversation. It's just sad. It's tragic. It's tragic that this individual was in such a desperate point in his life that he thought the solution was to kill someone, to silence one voice. It's not logical. It's hard to understand. I've never been that desperate before. I've been in a spot where I was so desperate where I thought the world would be better without me, and I tried to make that a reality. Thank God that did not happen. Emilio said here in the chat that he deleted messages. Okay, so that was probably the second obstruction of justice thing there. But I mean, if you've got compassion in your heart, you do have to feel not only for Charlie Kirk and his family, but you do have to feel a little bit of something for Tyler here. You have to have some compassion and some grace for him. I'm not saying he should be excused at all. I'm not saying that he doesn't deserve the death penalty, but I do hope and pray that he finds Jesus in his last moments here on this earth, because if he doesn't, he is pretty clearly destined for eternity without God, for a miserable existence for the rest of all time, an eternity separated from God's glory and the promise that he's given us through Jesus Christ. So it makes me sad because Yes, Charlie is gone. Charlie left behind a wife, 2 children, parents, siblings. But Tyler is going to be gone because of his choices as well. And by all accounts, his family members are believers. They at least believe in justice because they helped to turn their son in, which I certainly couldn't imagine doing. I couldn't imagine putting my parents in that position either. My kids are also very young, but I wouldn't want to be put in that position. I think I know what I would do if it were ever the case, but I hope to raise my kids well enough so that is not the case. Anyway, Emilio, you want to talk about anything, sir? You're here. Thank you for being here, my friend. Seeing if anybody else anywhere is watching. So, 3L Atlas. I don't know what that means. Let me look it up. Comet or no? Let's look this up. 3L Atlas. Atlas 3L can refer to two things. Interstellar Comet 3L Atlas. I don't know, man. Is there some conspiracy behind it? 3I. Okay, yeah, I found it. Google corrected me. I have no idea. I'll have to look into it. Maybe we can talk about it tomorrow. I don't know. What do you think? You think it's Space Invaders? My general take on most things Space Invaders, or most alien-related things, is I tend to not believe that aliens exist. I do believe that it's possible for them to exist. I don't believe that they do exist. If they do exist, I think the science is good enough for us to say that they're probably progressing at a similar level that we are. Because if there were more advanced societies, we'd be able to see some sort of proof of them. Meaning, if there's a society out there that created radio waves millions of years ago or thousands of years ago, maybe not thousands, I forget the exact science on it, but millions of years ago, they would have probably traveled to us by now. So they're either very, very far away and we don't have to worry about them, or they are not very advanced and we don't have to worry about them, or they're only slightly more advanced than us, say maybe the couple hundred years where we had dark ages and we really weren't making a whole lot of technological advances, or they're behind us and they're not there. But because of my belief, if aliens exist, because of my deeply held Christian religious beliefs, I believe that God and Christ would have had to reveal themselves to them, and that they would have a amazingly similar redemption story in their theology and ideology, or at the very least in their history. I know that doesn't answer your question about the comet, but based on my worldview, I do believe that it probably has to be a comet or some other celestial object. Yeah, I'll have to look into it. Maybe we'll talk about it tomorrow. I'll put it on my list. Oh, Emilio said, for those who can't see the chat, it's only weird because it changed trajectory and it's headed towards Mars. So, the one thing I didn't go over yet is, so this podcast I started because of what happened to Charlie. I think we need to have more people out there being courageous, talking about their beliefs, having conversations respectfully with people who don't agree with us, or who don't agree, period. And my hope is that more and more of us will start things like this so that we can have conversations, so that we can find common ground. And even if we can't find common ground, at the very least, be respectful and be able to be heard and have other people hear us. I am, the home for this podcast is under my app Niched. Niched is a new type of platform. I took pretty much everything people don't like about social media out of it. I took away algorithms. I took away gatekeepers. I mirrored more the cost that it has to have a conversation with someone in real life. Because if we're having conversations with one another in real life, it costs at the very least our time. And I put the power into the user's hands to be able to control your feed. So your experience on Niched is going to be completely different from my experience on Niched. You have the ability to filter and customize your feed. Only things that you follow come up on your feed. Anything that you've ever blocked stays off of your feed. And the main behavior change is that you attach a niche to one of your posts. So when we do that, it gives me the ability to allow the user to be able to control that. And I want to provide a way for my users to be customers as well. So that's one thing that social media doesn't do a good job of. We are social media's product. So the longer they get us trapped inside of their app, the longer they get to make money off of our eyeballs. So that doesn't mean there won't be ads, but that does mean that I want to provide a way for you to have an ad-free experience and have full control of your online environment. Anyway, if any of that interests you, go to resistthealgorithm.com. Again, that is resistthealgorithm.com, and you can learn more about what I'm trying to do there. And this podcast just kind of goes along with that. I want to talk about not just the news, not just the ideology, not just religion, but all the things in between those things that give us great joy, that make us happy, that we work so hard throughout the day to be able to have a little bit of free time to reclaim for ourselves. I know that everybody has different hobbies and stuff like that. I'm looking forward for the weather cooling off so that I can go ski. It's why I eat healthy or try to. I'm not in the best shape ever right now, but it's why I try to stay healthy so that I can enjoy the 2.5 months that we get here in Pennsylvania to actually ski, because it's the thing I love more than anything else in the world in terms of hobbies and relaxation. But that's it for today. I will be here Monday through Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern Time, 11 a.m. Pacific Time. Unless for some reason we all agree that there would be a better time of day to do that, which I am open to hearing. For now, this is an unnamed podcast, and I would love your input. If you have an idea for the name of the podcast, I would love your input. We will choose a name together unless an unnamed podcast sticks. So thank you all for being here. Do I know about Banana Ball? Oh, we have one last question. All right. I will touch on this, Emilio. Yes, I know about Banana Ball. They are packing stadiums with a new form of baseball. You're right. The Savannah Bananas. Of course I do. I lived in Atlanta for a year when I was doing sales. And yeah, they were kind of just starting. I was living there 6 years ago now. 6 years ago, I moved down there for 1 year. And they were just starting at the time, but yeah, it's amazing what he's doing. They were, I believe the backstory is they were a minor league baseball team, and then they were purchased, and he decided to do something different. It's really cool. It's really cool what they're doing. If you have not seen anything about the Savannah Bananas, you need to check it out and check out Banana Ball, because he is a visionary and a true American entrepreneur. But yeah, it's cool. I like it. Baseball's so boring. Baseball's like one of the worst sports to watch. And Banana Ball is interesting and fun. So yeah, cool. Well, thank you, Emilio, for being here, and everyone else who is here, everyone else who is watching after this airs. We will be here 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific, Monday through Friday, every day until I draw my last breath. All right. Thank you guys. Have a great day, and we will see you tomorrow.